Hello people, here's another video, another update on my Xmaxx journey. I've had it for a few months now. You'll have seen in the last video that I stripped the teeth here on this standard steering servo. Traxxas did warranty that, and well, they sent me a new set of plastic gears for the servo, but I've chosen not to reinstall the stock one. The next issue I had was with the ESC just a few days later. Yeah, lost drive. And I had this situation where all the lights were on. The receiver light was flashing and all the lights on the ESC were on simultaneously. The manual calls this a critical failure, and it basically means the ESC is bricked. There's nothing you can do to recover it. So again, I warranted that, and again, they were very good. After a few days of to and fro, they agreed to send me a new ESC. But I don't have a huge amount of faith in the ESCs here, so I think we're going to go with something else. So my 10th scale servo is still working just fine, so that's still in there. We do now have a new ESC, Max 6 fit in there perfectly. No mods needed at all, so that was good. The Max 6 was really easy to install. I just used this double-sided tape, and I chose to put 3 layers on to give it a little bit of cushioning for when I'm doing jumps and stuff.
You can probably hear that squeaking, but the wheel bearings in this thing are pretty shot. We'll need replacing soon. The GPS on the back, yes it is. Ooh. Maybe need to turn the braking force down a little bit on the Max 6 CSC. Yeah, I guess that looks somewhere around the 40 mark. Oh, thought I might be a bit endo there. Didn't go well. Didn't go according to plan. Oh crap, I keep forgetting I've got the GPS on there. Right, we'll take a look now, see what the top speed is. It's 38.3. 38.3 miles per hour. Is that right? That seems low. Wow. Let's just stop gearing for you then, guys. 38 miles an hour.
So I was a little bit disappointed with that top speed, and I decided to swap out the spur gear. So gone is the 54 tooth stock one, and instead we've got this 6448R 50 tooth instead. It was kind of a good job I changed it when I did, because this bearing was absolutely sea-solid and just spinning on the shaft. I also noticed that these button head screws were just held in on the plastic there. So I got these little fancy green washers. They seem to hold the motor a lot more securely. The Proline body's holding up pretty good. It's got a fair few scrapes and stuff on it now. So there's no splits or cracks anywhere. I did have one of these screws at the front pull through the body. So I got these little cool skull 3D printed. They're like washers basically. Stops the screws pulling through. I fitted the stock Traxxas ones at the front. And we've got the little skulls at the back as well. Pretty happy with those. I wanted to put these RPM roof bars on as well. They've proven to be pretty good. I have got a few little upgrades here. I've got this set of shock socks just to stop the debris getting in between the shock spring and the shaft and when I'm scraping. And I've got these little guards to stop the stones and stuff from hitting it. Couldn't get black ones, only green ones, but they'll do. I did have a rear wheel bearing failure where all the balls came out of the 2 races. So I replaced the rear hubs with these RPM Oversized ones. The RPM ones take this much larger bearing, which is much beefier you know, it's a much stronger bearing than the Traxxas stock one. So I'm very pleased with those. They have also recently released these front oversized bearing hubs. So I've got those on order and I'll be fitting those as soon as they arrive. I will need new outer bearings because the RPM ones only come with the inner bearings. So yeah, so we're back to fighting form. Oh, that was a bit of a bounce. I may be upgrading the shock oil. I might try an 80 weight to try and stop some of that bounce. But yeah, she's running great. And of course, the issue with doing big jumps like this with a Hobbywing ESC is, of course, the cooling fan. And inevitably, I have broken that already. It's pretty standard on all the Hobbywing ESCs. If you're going to be jumping them, the fan blades are going to break. But I do have this little, this is a cooling fan from a servo, which I think I will be fitting. I'm just going to be waiting for some longer screws, and then that'll be on there, and hopefully that'll do a better job. So I also had an issue with one of the stock tyres. Didn't actually damage the tyre, but the tyre did come unglued and spat the foam out. So I was looking around for some replacement wheels that I could use. I had these GRP ones for my Losi 5 buggy, but they were considerably smaller than the stock tyres. I also tried out some Area RC ones for my DBXL-E and the stock Creepy Crawler tyres, and also those tiny paddle tyres. The Area RC ones were pretty good, but they're very heavy. So I invested in a new set, these Luis Cyclones. They're made specifically for the Xmaxx, and they're really good. I thought I was hitting the body slightly. Large. Yeah, the front, I think. Straight into a tree. That's fine. Unbelievable. Obviously, it would have been better to do the speed run on the stock Xmaxx tyres. That way we could see that it was the gearing that was making a difference to the speed. Unfortunately, until I can get some new foams for those Xmaxx tyres, the Luises are going to stay on there. They are a slightly larger diameter, they're around 20mm larger than the stock tyres, and that did cause a few issues with them catching on the body. But obviously they don't balloon like stock tyres, so I'm not sure what effect they're going to have on the speed run. Well, I guess it's that time. Let's find out with the new speed run. There we go. We've actually dropped 0.5 miles an hour on the new gearing, but with the heavier Luis tyres. So I'm not sure what conclusion we can draw from that. I guess we'll have to keep testing. Cheers, guys.